Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Jackson Stadium, home of the Covington High School Fighting Lions. The faculty, staff, and students of CHS welcome you to tonight's game. All spectators are asked to remain in their seats during the game. We want to remind all spectators that public school premises are no smoking zones. We thank you for your cooperation in honoring the state law. The CHS student government has established a student section for only Covington High School students at the southwest section of the stadium. We wish that all honor the established section. Officials for tonight's game are assigned to the Bar Association, and they are referee Matt Rusher, umpire Craig Frost, head linesman Clinton Terry, line judge Scott Center, back judge Danny Fowler, side judge Adrian Delaney, and field judge Carlos Avrod. Clock operators Philip Williams and 25-second clock operator David Conifer. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Covington High School Dames and Dolphins Marching Line Band and Go 6. Covington High School Fighting Lions. The Lions will be hosting the St. Paul Wolves. The Lions are led by head coach Greg Salter. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of colors by the Covington High School Navy Junior ROTC and the play.
Whether or not he might play. So right now, they're going to go without him. 2nd down 9 for the Wolves. Vidal goes in motion across the formation. Jonte on the run, flag is down, and Jonte out of bounds across the 40 at the 41-yard line.
You know, again, with Vidal being the running back tonight, holding penalty.
Our referee
right
tonight is Matt Richaud.
Yeah, holding penalty right there. But I was fixing to say, Ken, you know, tonight with Vidal being the running back, and if Corey Williamson does not make an appearance, you're going to see a lot of different formations out of the St. Paul's Wolves in order to be able to get the ball into their other athletes' hands. So look for Vidal not only at tailback, running back, but look for him being out on the flank as a wide receiver or in the slot also.
Yeah, we're likely to see him tonight at some point. He's dressed out and ready to play, but right now it's a no-go on that. So trying to get some of the penalty yardage back is Cameron Vidal, the junior, who had a great week of practice. Here's some of the offensive key players that we were going to watch, and of course we had Williamson down there, and we still expect to see him tonight.
Right, but I tell you who you are going to see is number 17 wide receiver Timothy Bedford. He's a big receiver who has a great set of hands. He will be Jonte McDowell's main target tonight as a wide receiver. Also a great offensive lineman, Trey Ikamina, does a great job up front for the Wolves.
Now let's see if they look for T.J. Bedford. Timothy Bedford is his name on this 3rd down and long. 3rd down and 22 for the Wolves on the first offensive possession of this football game. Jonte McDowell from the gun. Has a little bit of time. Now he's going to uncork a bomb way down there, and it was intended for Grant Rush, and he couldn't hold it. Incomplete.
Tell you what, Marcus Williams right there, the really good defensive back for the Lions, had nice coverage on him. He was lucky he didn't get a defensive holding penalty there by trying to hold his jersey. You can see a good look at it right here. You can see Marcus Williams in good position to make a play. Little bit overthrown, just couldn't pull the ball in for the reception. This is going to bring up a punting situation now for the St. Paul's Wolves.
Austin Means is the punter back at his own 15-yard line. Has a pretty good leg. Nice foot into this one. Fair catch called for by Kijon Batiste. And he makes that fair catch at the 36-yard line. So we get a good look at Joshua Alfaro, the quarterback for Covington. Young man's a junior. Been playing behind Marquise Hollins, who graduated off. Good numbers. But with the interceptions, but 3 of those interceptions came against Rummel in the slop. He's settled down since that game early in the year, which was the 2nd game of the season for Covington. And really got control of his passing game and has only thrown 2 interceptions since then.
Well, the guy behind him is the guy that has to handle the chores tonight for that Covington offense, and we talked about him earlier, and that's Devin Brumfield, number 6.
As it lateraled at Brumfield, and he had to reach out and save it. He's smothered behind the line on a gang tackle by the Wolves defense. Here's some of the Covington key players we want to watch on that offensive line. And of course, Brumfield is one of them. We talked about him, and they got a couple of other good ones too.
Yeah, especially number 2, wide receiver Keyshawn Baptiste. He has an outstanding route running skills. He does a great job getting in and out of his breaks and setting up his routes. He makes things happen when he gets the ball in his hands, so he's got to do a good job tonight getting over in order for Alfaro to get him the ball.
2nd down, 12, right up the middle. Fumble! Who got it? They recovered his own fumble. Lines, save it.
Well, here's a good look at the replay right here. You see the botched handoff right there by the exchange between Alfaro as well as Brumfield. Great job by Alfaro right there to get on the ball that goes on the ground. That's a way to be heads up.
Boy, proving that he's growing up fast at that quarterback slot. Let's see what he can do on 3rd down, 8 for Covington. Can they keep their drive alive? Fakes to Brumfield, throws low over the middle. Is it caught? And it is right at the 50-yard line for a 1st down, and that's caught by Keyshawn Baptiste. One of your key, along with Alonje early cut. That's going to be one of your key players. Milton Clark actually caught that one for a 12-yard gain to move the chains.
You know, Milton Clark has been averaging 19.5 yards a reception and carry after he catches the ball. Tell you what, he's explosive also. They just got to get the ball into their skilled people's hands.
Low snap, and they're going right back to Milton Clark, and he's smothered as soon as he hits it. And he was hit hard and dropped quickly. And take a look by Josh Terrell, one of the guys on that linebacking core for St. Paul's. It's so good. St. Paul's always has a great defense when you look at the players, and the key ones we're going to keep an eye on.
Well, I'll tell you what, Josh Terrell, he's been all over the field this season for the Wolves. A really outstanding defense. Look for him to come up big tonight. He's going to have to come up big tonight to lead this Wolves defense.
Loss of 2 makes it 2nd down, 12, and again, good play action. There's the tosser going right back to Milton Clark, and Milton Clark is to the 40-yard line and has another 1st down for the Covington Lions, a gain of 12.
Well, I like what they're doing right there. It's a little play action off the inside zone, faking the handoff to Brumfield. Everybody is driving on Brumfield, and he's getting the ball out to a slot back right there, Milton Clark. Good numbers right there. If you'll take a look at him, outstanding numbers. He does a lot of things with the ball when he gets his hands on it.
Baptiste, Milton Clark, Devin Brumfield. Those were just 3 of about 8 names last year when we did this game. We were calling the super sophomore class, all much more mature this year as juniors, and they've been delivering for this Covington Lions football team. Now they'll keep it on the ground to Brumfield straight ahead, gets positive yardage down to the 35. That'll be about a 5-yard gain.
St. Paul's has given us a 3-man front, but it's actually a 6-man box. So what that spells for the Covington offense is run. If you take a look at it, you can see it on the replay right there. You can see the down 3, you can see the up 3 linebackers. That spells a 6-man box. That reads run to an offense, and that's what Covington's doing right now.
Now on 2nd and just a little bit more than 5, you've got your 2 top receivers, Baptiste and Clark, up on the top side of your screen. Let's see if Alfaro wants to go to one of them. He'll fake it. No, he'll give it on the end around to Clark. And Clark coming around gets inside the 35-yard line, but is short of the 1st down.
Tell you what, great tackle by Robert Bucoy from St. Paul's, coming from his free safety position. You get a good look at it. Here comes the end around right here, and then here comes Bucoy coming from his safety position downhill into the alley, inside out, making a great tackle for a loss.
He's one of the leaders at strong safety on that Wolves defense. 3rd down short, 3rd down and 3. Here's a keep. Alfaro pushing to the 25-yard line, moves the chains. He's got a 1st down, and Covington's looking good on this opening drive for them in this 1st quarter.
Let me tell you what happened right there, Ken. That was almost another botched handoff. I don't know what's going on between Alfaro and Brumfield right there on the mesh, but
Last week, Slidell, in Covington's victory over Slidell, 21-3 in the 4th quarter, Brumfield came off the field hobbling, He had a high ankle sprain. Wasn't a bad one, and it's good to see him looking good. Here's a shot to an open receiver in the end zone. That's a touchdown. Milton Clark, 25-yard touchdown. Milton Clark got so wide open between two defenders that time. It was an amazing thing to see, a 25-yard score.
I'll tell you what, that was a huge route right there, right down the seam. The free safety was caught right in no man's land, didn't break on the ball. Great throw by Alfaro. That was the key to that play. Alfaro reads the safety perfectly and puts the ball right on the money to the seam route. 6 points, Covington Lions.
How about the throw by Alfaro as Devin Jenkins attempts the point after? It is up. It is good. Another look at the touchdown as we go to break. Covington jumps out early on the St. Paul's Wolves 7-0 with 6:40 to play in the first quarter of this big rivalry. Now they got to tee up that football as Covington had gone right down the field on a 9-play, 64-yard drive that took 3 minutes and 33 seconds. The 25-yard pass from Alfaro to Milton Clark for the touchdown, and they're going to kick it one more time. And the Wolves fall on with it. Let's take a look at our keys to victory, presented all season by Tachi Insurance in La Place. Insurance is not for what will happen, but for what could happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, St. Paul's has got to spread it around, and they're going to have to stuff the run up front on defense. That's going to be the big thing for them tonight. It's very important. And then Covington, Covington's going to have to make sure they got to win up front on offense with that offensive line, get Devin Brumfield going, and then their defensive line must shine against this St. Paul's offense.
Well, Corey Williamson is in the game, but Jonte McDowell will keep on first down and get a good gain out of it to cross the 40-yard line up to the 43-yard line, almost the 40. Let's call it, they're going to mark it about the 42-yard line. But just a good move by him.
Right, it's a lead option right there, and good look at it again here on the replay. You see him getting right up inside. He makes a cut. Covington Lions do a great job coming up to take the pitch back. He cuts it up inside and picks up valuable yardage.
Again, Corey Williamson, who has been sick all week, is going to carry for the first time tonight on this second offensive possession. He'll sweep the left side, but he's gang tackled over there, and it was played very well by the defense, but maybe gets enough yardage for the first down with good second effort. He only needed 3. It's going to be close.
Covington does a great job coming up from the secondary, setting the edge, and it was a meeting of two minds right there, one of Corey Williamson and one of the secondary of Covington Lions, and Corey Williamson won that battle, gets the first down.
Big Grayson Lloyd checks in on the defensive line. 1st and 10 as the Wolves move the chains, moving to our right here in the first quarter. Little under 6 minutes to go. We're in October. No hydration breaks in the month of October. Here's the give to Williamson again. He's looking for room on the inside and finds 2 on the left side before running into that defensive front of Turner and Ford over there.
Well, I tell you what, the Covington defensive line really needs to shine tonight, and they can. They're very, very talented. Ford, Turner, Betts, and Vin Ciafora. These guys do a great job. Here's a good look at Williamson right there. Take a look at them. He's going to have to carry the load. He was sick early this week, as you said, Ken, and he looks like he wanted back in this game, and he's there now.
This time the play action to Williamson, and that leaves a man wide open, but the pass to Grant Grosh is overthrown by Jonte McDowell, incomplete. Had Grosh open.
Well, he should have hit him right in the chest, had him wide open off a bootleg action. Actually, what he should have done is he had about 15 yards worth of grass in front of him, and he could have either thrown the ball, hit the wide open receiver, or he should have tucked that thing and ran it and picked up the first down. He had a couple of options he could have taken use right there on that particular bootleg.
3rd down, about 8. McDowell. Empty backfield now. He's got some room to run if he can turn that corner, and he does, and he's got the first down and a little bit more before being run out of bounds on the far side.
He's a dual threat quarterback. He can do it with his legs. He can do it with his arms. You know, the big thing with his arm, though, he's going to have to get a little bit under control. Like he missed that wide open receiver right there. It's a good look at his rushing numbers right there. But he's going to have to grow into his arm. He's got a rifle for his arm. Just a little times he overthrows people, underthrows people. That will come with experience.
And they got a new set of downs to work with at the Covington 45-yard line. And again, keep running with the big guy that carries the football, Corey Williamson. He goes forward. Jonte McDowell, very athletic quarterback, only a sophomore. Ken Sears happy with the way he is learning the offense and not making mistakes as they get later into the year. Second down, 6. This time they'll just screen it out to Williamson, left side. He gets a few, and it'll be third down and short.
It brings into a third down in management, but what I've noticed, Ken, so far out of St. Paul's offense is they've come out in about 7 different formations so far. They've come out in empty, they've come out in 2 backs, they've come out in 3 backs, they've come out in 1 back or 11 personnel. So, you know, the difference of what they're doing is they're putting stress on that Covington defense to make sure that they line up and they're in proper alignment against all the different offensive looks that they're going to see.
T.J. Bedford's got man coverage. He's their leading receiver upstairs, but they're going to go the opposite way with a little toss. Matt Myers in trouble in the backfield, and he is spilled at the 39-yard line short of the first down, and now it's decision time.
I tell you what, that play was stopped by the Covington Lions because of Thomas Johnson. What he does from his outside strong safety position right there is he stretches the defense, stretches the offense to be able to set the edge and turn the running back inside to the oncoming defense. Great defense right there by the Covington Lions.
They're going for it on 4th down, 5. I guess first they'll see if they can draw Covington offsides. There's the snap. Here's your 4th down play. McDowell with a good cutback slides, and he's got the first down right at the 35-yard line. It might depend on the spot, but the marker on the far side is right on the line. And he went down right on the line, but they're going to have to, they don't even have to measure. He's got the first down.
Tell you what, I think if I'm the Covington coaches, I'm asking for a measurement. I'm a little upset. I want to get those chains out there and measure that thing.
Well, he is. I think right now that's exactly what Greg Salter's doing. But he's not going to get it.
I tell you what, that's not very good right there by the officials. You know, I can criticize.
First down. St. Paul's drive stays alive. And here's Williamson over the right side, just putting his head down and barreling for about 3 or 4 yards over the right side. As we get near the 2.5-minute mark in this first quarter, each team has had the ball 1 time. Covington got themselves in trouble with penalties and had to punt their drive away. Or pardon me, St. Paul's did. Covington drove down and scored. Leads at 7-0, and now St. Paul's is trying to answer. Jonte McDowell with a pass to the right side. Finally finds Timothy Bedford, T.J. Bedford, who's got the first down inside the 20-yard line. And he's been looking for him all this first quarter and finally finds him.
Does a nice job setting his route up over there and stopping his feet, pushing his stem to get the defensive back into a back pedal. And I tell you what, nice pass by Jonte McDowell to get it out there to him.
Got 15 yards on that one. Here's the toss the other way. This one's complete to Grant Grosh, and Grosh is inside the 15-yard line.
Little quick screen out there to Grant Grosh. I want to make sure I'm saying his name right. Grant Grosh does a nice job setting up his blocking on the quick screen. Great job out on the perimeter by the other wide receivers from St. Paul, giving him some room to run.
This long, sustained drive by the Wolves. Short yardage for the first. Here's a good fake to Williamson, but didn't fool anybody, and flags are down as Jonte McDowell goes down for a short loss on the play, but let's see what this flag's all about.
Got a holding penalty right there against St. Paul's, but getting back to that play right there, he was number 84, Grayson Lloyd, who does a great job right there stacking that thing up on the zone read at St. Paul's. He squeezes down, and then he lanyards back, comes back and makes a nice play on Shante McDowell on the zone read.
And what was 2nd down and 2 is now 2nd down and 7. Now let's take a look at the defensive players we're going to watch for this Covington Lions team, because their defensive line may be the strongest part. They've got strong line.
Well, I'll tell you what, St. Paul's is going to have to do a great job on number 40, the defensive lineman Anthony Ford. I'll tell you what, he does a great job as the Lions' leading tackler.
Celestine on the catch. Celestine with a great cut inside, finds the end zone. Touchdown.
Tell you what, St. Paul's hurries up their offense right there and goes to a little tempo offense, gets the ball out to Celestine real fast, and what a cut does he make on the sidelines to get into the end zone.
Woo! Thomas Celestine, that is his 2nd touchdown of the year, and he did it with style.
Tell you what, Thomas Celestine right there, you know, the old proverbial fake a few guys out of their jock straps, well, that's exactly what he did to the Covington secondary right there to get into the end zone for the St. Paul's Wolves.
21-yard touchdown to Thomas Celestine, and we are a point after from tying this game up. Austin Means in to attempt it. It is kicked up, and we are tied at 7 with just a little over a minute to go in the first quarter. This rivalry is living up to its billing. St. Paul's answers the Covington touchdown with one of their own, and then puts the kickoff into the end zone. It's coming back out, and with that, we are going to take a break. We'll be back with more right after this. Tied at 7 here at Jack Salter Stadium in Covington. We are back, and the Lions are ready. Alfaro and Brumfield in the backfield. 3 wideouts to the top of your screen. They'll keep it on the ground with Brumfield, who spins into the line for just a few. Hit first by Josh Terrell, and then he had help.
Tell you what, Josh Terrell has been all over the field so far this year for the Wolves, as I talked about earlier. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He's the 2nd leading tackler on the team. He does a great job from that linebacker position. You're going to see a group of active linebackers out of these St. Paul's Wolves.
Elijah, early cut, way down at the bottom of your screen, but he won't get it. He'll throw a block for Joshua Alfaro, and what a run by the quarterback all the way out to the 45-yard line with just less than 30 seconds to play in this first quarter.
Joshua Alfaro does a nice job. That's zone read. The defensive end for St. Paul's Wolves, number 45, Nick Knobloch, falls down inside. Or excuse me, that was Hayden Ockman, falls down inside on the dive fake. He pulls the ball out, being Alfaro, and gets around the end for a huge pickup.
That huge pickup was 23 yards. And boy, the Lions right now are proving they have come to play. They've been dominated in this series, as we said back in the opener. They've lost 11 of the last 12. Flag on the play as this run goes right into the middle of the line. So let's see what this penalty is all about.
There we go. I think we got a holding penalty call. on Covington. It's going to back them up 10 yards from the spot of the foul, bring it back to the 35-yard line right there. But I tell you what, talking about this defensive front from St. Paul's, Ken, these 3 active linebackers for St. Paul's really get after it. Talking about Terrell, Doherty, LaFosse, and then they throw a guy named Paul Grimion in there from time to time. They really get after it. These guys are really, really, really fast. They get to the ball, and they're physical when they get there. It's going to be a big job by the Covington offensive line to get to the second level, to block them tonight, to allow Brumfield to break his runs.
That's the end of 1 quarter of play. We're tied at 7. Covington and St. Paul from Jack Salter Stadium.
Tell you what, Tell you what, Matt Myers is an outstanding athlete. Talking to some of the St. Paul's coaches prior to the game, they said we're going to see a lot of him tonight. Not only kick returning, punt returning, playing maybe a little bit of defense. We might see him in the secondary, but he also plays on offense as a receiver and sometimes in the backfield as a running back. They try to get the ball in his hands somehow. He's an outstanding athlete.
And 28 yards, however, it might be wiped out. That 28-yard return could be wiped out. Let's see. What a beautiful return. Looked like Houdini.
We got a block in the back, exactly what I thought, so they'll mark it off from where the flag is. Here's a good look at the replay right here. Great catch right here by Myers. A couple missed tackles. He gets out of one tackle, spins, come around, continue going. You might be able to see the block in the back, and then he's brought down. So this great return is going to be negated by a block in the back. You hate to see that.
SportsNola.com Prep Football is presented by First NBC Bank, and we have a Saturday doubleheader from the West Bank. At 2, it's the St. Augustine Purple Knights and Shaw. And then at 7, it's a blockbuster District 8-5A matchup between Landry Walker and John Ehret. That's more high school football Saturday live at SportsNola.com. Tied at 7, 11 minutes to go in this first half. St. Paul's starts at their own 12-yard line. Williamson is in there, and he'll take the first handoff and head right into the center of the line. And Covington's got a pretty good defensive line with Trevor Betts, Liam Vincifora, Cody Turner, and Anthony Ford, and they usually stop what comes their way.
Well, right there is Vincifora doing a great job destroying the block, playing off the counterplay real well, and making the nice tackle on Corey Williamson. But these guys up front have been the strength of that Covington defense all season long.
Williamson checks out on this series, but Thomas Celestine, who caught the touchdown pass and made that beautiful cut inside, he has it. Now Jante McDowell is going to show you why he can run that football. One man to beat on the turn on the other side, and he gets past Marcus Williams before going out of bounds.
You know, one of the things that always concerned me as a defensive coordinator is, can the running back run with the football? Another good look at it right here. Jante McDowell fakes the pass right there, and then he takes off around the right end of his offense. But if the quarterback can't run, that takes away one of the threats that you've got to be concerned about in your secondary, because you're going to have to support things from your secondary to be able to account for the extra running back in the quarterback. And that's every defensive coordinator's nightmare when they know that the quarterback can run.
3rd down and 2. Williamson back in there. He'll get the call. He wants to go wide, tripped up in the backfield, and he goes down. Person coming in to make that stop was Ralph Crandall.
Tell you what, Ralph Crandall does a great job playing off a block right there and making a big play for a loss to bring up that 4th down. Ralph Crandall, one of those really solid linebackers for the Covington Lions, 5'9", 175-pound junior. Puts St. Paul's into a punting situation with 4th and short.
And that's a short 2, but back at your own 20-yard line, you've got to send that ball on its way. Means with a good punt. Fair catch called for and made at the 45-yard line. So with that, we'll come back right after this. Covington has the football in this tie football game. Time now for Traditions, presented by Joseph A. Bank, the new tradition since 1905, with locations downtown in Metairie and in Mandeville. This year marks the 40th anniversary of Covington's 15-0 perfect season in 1976 that ended with a 14-7 victory over Estruma for the Quad A state championship in front of a sellout crowd at the Cow Dome. Coach Jack Salter's Lions went 29-1 over a 2-year span. Boy, what a powerhouse program it was way back then.
Well, I was playing high school football back then, and one of the things you always read about in the newspaper was Covington and how they played great defense and controlled the ball offensively on offense.
Alfaro to the right side.
That was Christian Roberts that came up from his secondary position and made a great tackle right there. The leading tackler for the St. Paul's Wolves, Christian Roberts. He's also their interception leader. This guy does a great job. He's a very thorough tackler. Good look right there at Joshua Alfaro of the Lions.
Alfaro getting the play because this is a big one. It's 3rd down and long. They'd like to keep the chains moving with 8.5 to go in this first half. 3rd down 6 for Covington. And of course the guy to watch is Devin Brumfield. The 2 big wideouts that we were expecting to play a bigger role in this first half have been very quiet. Kejon Batiste and Earlycut. Alfaro can't shake the last tackler and goes down for a yard loss, not getting back to the line of scrimmage, and that was Mashburn.
That was Mashburn on the tackle. They brought the blitz. You'll see it on the replay right here. Let's see if we can see Mashburn getting through there for the tackle. Right there, brings him down by the ankle. St. Paul brings 2 extra linebackers to put a little pressure on Alfaro right there, and they do a nice job getting to him for the loss.
So a 1-2-3 punt for the Lions when they needed to move those chains. Jenkins has lots of time, so he'll take his time to let the coverage get down there, forcing a fair catch by Myers. We had a flag also. Flag at the 44-yard line.
You know, one of the big things they talk about on the kicking game, especially in the punting game, is whether it was post-possession or pre-possession. That's going to affect where the ball is going to be marked off on the penalty. Here's our call. Block below the waist against St. Paul's. So it's going to be backed up from where the fair catch was taken.
If you're injured on Friday, the Oshner Sports Medicine Institute is open on both the North and South Shore for Saturday morning clinic. Oshner Sports Medicine, the region's most comprehensive sports medicine services.
I bet you didn't know this, Ken, but Covington is one of those Oshner sports medicine schools. They do a great job over here taking care of those Covington players on the days after football games.
I did not know that.
Yeah, hang with me. You learn some stuff.
Game prep. Goes beyond the X's and O's with Wade Kaiser. I like that.
There you go.
7.5 to play. St. Paul's, it's in the first half. St. Paul's starting deep in their own territory again, this time at their 14-yard line. They're going right up the middle. Williamson again, I believe, and it is.
That was Cody Turner on that tackle, 5'10", 255-pound defensive lineman. There's a good look at Greg Salter. I'll tell you what, he's got to be happy with his defense tonight so far. You know, this defense has only been giving up 15.2 yards a game on defense. You know, I tell you what, they held Slidell last week to 14 yards rushing.
Now that play is going to lose yardage, so the Covington defense that he's so happy with did a great job right there, just stuffing that one out. And once again, it's Crandall.
Crandall all over the place so far. I tell you what, these guys run to the ball. Good look at it right here. There's the fake, throwing it out to the quick bubble screen out there, wide receiver screen. Look at Crandall. Whack, wrap up, hold on, wait for the cavalry to come, and coming over there also getting in on that was Liam Vincifora.
3rd and 10. That ball was slow to get there. Crandall had to wait on it, and that gave the defense just extra time to get there and make the play. Boy, so far this game has lived up to all we thought it might be. Big 3rd down right here. Only 1 of 4 for St. Paul's on 3rd down conversions. Lots of time. Wants to go long for T.J. Bedford. It's a jump ball, and it'll be incomplete. Covered well down there by Austin Russell.
Austin Russell does a great job covering the vertical route. St. Paul's goes to empty backfield. One of the many formations that we've already seen earlier tonight. They spread out the secondary, and they run Bedford deep on a vertical route. They're trying to stretch the secondary, but right there saying no way was Austin Russell making a great job, doing a great job on his defensive coverage.
Austin Means stands at the goal line. And this time we have 2 returners. Might be a little razzle-dazzle for Covington, but a good high kick. Oh, fumble! pile up on it. And the Lions retain possession of that football. Wow, dangerous. So
here's another good look in the fumble right here as we're going. That was early cut, fumbling the ball, falling right down on the ball. Lucky he comes up with it for his offense.
fans loving this game here, and a fumbled snap, but the whistle blew first, so hold everything. They called timeout. Covington called timeout before the snap. And good thing.
Covington did not have the right personnel on the field, so one of the great things is when you have the Covington coaches sitting right next to you in the box, you can hear them yelling what they need to have. So, yeah, I can hear them through the walls yelling that they don't have the right personnel on the field, so they take a timeout. They don't want to waste the rep, and they call the timeout so they can get personnel right on the field.
All right, next on WHNO, it's more football as the Nichols Colonels takes on Stephen F. Austin, the Lumberjacks. It's homecoming in Thibodaux. Can the Colonels get back on track with Chase Fourcade at quarterback? Stay tuned to find out. It's Southland Conference football next on WHNO. And a reminder, we'll have college football on WHNO every Saturday at 2:30 through the end of November. A lot of those games are going to be Coach Timmy Rebo and the Nichols Colonels. Had a Tulane game last week. Have a Southern Miss game, a Louisiana Tech game. We'll have the Nichols Southeastern Thursday night game. Exciting times.
Well, it's a great weekend with everybody that you normally watch has a bye. They can tune into us, and they're going to catch a great high school football game as well as a great college football game.
So after burning a timeout, here's a quick toss over the middle, and that one is knocked away incomplete.
That's a run-pass option out there to early cut right there. They're reading the secondary. He got the right numbers for the pass. He pulls the ball out of Brumfield's stomach, and he tries to hit the quick slant. Just not good enough on the pass for the pickup. Run-pass option. It's the new thing in offensive football now. You see it at all levels.
Second down 10. Alfaro. He's going to just lob one long and just throws it past the outstretched hands of Alonje Earlycut.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're they're picking on Bryson Brown over there, the right cornerback for the St. Paul Wolves, who's one of the team captains. They throw the slant against him. He does a nice job defending that. They come right back and try to throw the fade against him. Here's a good look at it right here. It's got a step on the defender. You can see the ball is just slightly overthrown. If that had been on the money, that might have been 6.
Alfaro 6 of 10 for 60 yards and the touchdown. Needs a completion here on 3rd down and 10. They'll use the screen. Here it goes to Brumfield. Brumfield hit. It's going to be very close. He is almost to the first down marker, and this may depend on the spot of the football as to whether or not he moves the chains. And the officials say first down. He got it. No measurement needed.
Tell you what, here's a good look at the screen. Set up real well by Alfaro. They dump it off to Brumfield, and he hits a crease. I tell you what, that's very well set up by the Covington offense for a big first down.
First down on the Wolves' side of the 50. Brumfield, your running back. Alfaro, good strong arm. And Brumfield, not much, as the St. Paul's defensive line just clogs it up. Mashburn, no block. Achman, and then got help from the linebackers, Lacoste, Terrell, Grimion, Escaray.
Well, in order to establish Brumfield, Covington is going to have to be able to control that St. Paul's defensive line. They're going to have to make sure that they're physical up front. They play physical all night long. They've done a great job so far, especially in their pass protection. But the thing that's also helped them is a mobile quarterback. Alfaro is mobile, just like Jonte McDowell.
Second down 10. They'll keep it on the ground. Look at the cut by Brumfield. as he gets good positive yardage. He needs to get, well, he's going to be very close, but just short of the first down at the 32-yard line.
Here's your great replay. Watch this jump cut right here. Jump. There you go. Nice job, and then accelerate up the field. Great cut. This guy's going to have a great future. He's only a junior. He's going to have a great senior year next year. I'm sure they're already hitting him on the recruiting trail. It's somebody somewhere in 2 years is going to, next year is going to pick up a great running back.
Third down, a 3 and 5 on third down conversions. Everybody's in tight, stacked eye, and they're going right over the right side. Brumfield's got it for the first down. Interesting thing about Brumfield, you were talking about everybody wanting him. The list is too long to get into, but Mississippi State offered him last year as a sophomore. Everybody kind of jumped off of him after that. Now people are starting to come in.
All right, you see a dead eye right here. Two blocking backs inside. They run the inside also. They get a great block on Bradley Mashburn. They kick him out, give a crease to Brumfield, and that's all Brumfield needs, Ken, is a crease, and he hits it and picks up the first down.
Brumfield, how good do you have to be offered by an SEC school as a sophomore? Offered as a sophomore.
You weren't?
Yeah, banned. There goes Brumfield again. He's been trying the right side, not much on the left side this time.
They come back to the straight eye formation. Blocking back, fullback, tailback, and the old dead eye right there. Two tight ends playing power football. I like it. That means it's mano-a-mano up front on that offensive line. They're blocking down. They're kicking out at the point of attack with two blocking backs, and they're trying to run up inside. Great power football.
One of the great defenses against St. Paul's is keep their powerful offense off the field. And again, this is another long, sustained drive by Covington. Second down, 8, and they're eating up a lot of clock as we approach the 3-minute mark in the first half. There's that stacked eye again. Play action. He's going to throw wide open for the touchdown. My goodness, Anthony Ford. The 6-foot senior, his first touchdown of the year. Goodness gracious, a 26-yard score, and he got behind everybody.
Well, they lulled the secondary to death, all right? So what happened is they lulled them, they suck up. They run play action pass, and they slip the tight end forward right behind the secondary, and it's like easy pick. It's just lob the ball out there, and it's 6 points for the Covington Lions.
And the Lions are using some people who's catching the football that you normally don't see involved in a lot of the action. This one is good. Another look at the touchdown that puts the Covington Lions ahead by 1 touchdown in this game. That's wide open for the score. Out to the 32-yard line, an 8-play, 51-yard drive. Took 3 minutes and 9 seconds, and Covington, when they scored, converted both third downs on that long drive. Let's go downstairs to Les East, who's got a very inspiring story for us.
Yeah, guys, that Covington touchdown really excited this crowd here. And there was another touchdown at the Jamboree that was a very special moment as well. You can see over my shoulder a very special member of the Covington football team. His name is Lane Moore. He's wearing jersey number 1. At the end of the Jamboree last spring against Lakeshore, he was given the ball on a handoff on the last play of the Jamboree. He ran, he scored a touchdown. He was mobbed by members of both teams. He's not only an important person to the football program, also to the baseball program. When the flooding that hit the Covington area in the spring affected Lane's home, the Lions baseball team went and gutted his house to start the repairs that needed to be done. really a special person to the Covington family. Back to you, Ken.
Thank you, Les. And after Williamson was thrown for a 5-yard loss, we've got a penalty flag thrown as Matt Myers catches it and goes a long way, but hold everything because this one might be coming back. That was a big gain, a first down, and we're going to have a holding penalty, wipe out a 39-yard gain to Matt Myers.
Oh, that's just a killer. I tell you what, they hit Matt Myers right over the middle in a very nice post route. Great pass by Jonte McDowell. But one of the offensive linemen get caught with their hand in the cookie jar. That's coming back 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Here's a good look at it again. Jonte McDowell is going to hit Matt Myers right on the run. Look at this nicely thrown ball. Great set of hands right here by Matt Myers. Nice pickup, but it's for naught because it's coming back with the holding penalty.
I love to see stories like the one Les East just showed us. Very, very inspirational. Touches you deep.
There, it touches you big deep, and it's great. And that's what great high school sports are all about, to be able to put young man like that at the tip top of your program, and that's where that young man is.
Look, a 39-yard gain wiped out at 15 to that. My goodness. Now you're back at second down. You've got forever to go.
You
First down's at your 40.
You got to try to pick up half of it, Ken. That's about the only thing you can try to do right here.
Second one, look at this. And here's a wide open receiver. He's going to pick up half of it, just a little bit more. Again, that's Vidal.
Tell you what, I love the route. They're
22-yard gain.
Right, they're clearing the route out with Bedford. Bedford is running deep, and Vidal is hanging right in underneath the coverage right there and sitting into a nice zone hole right there. And you can see Jonte McDowell. Good look at it right here. Jonte McDowell puts it right on the numbers as you can see Vidal sit right down in the zone for a nice pickup.
Third and about 20. He picked up half of it the first time. He's going for all of it this time. Vidal has it, broke free from his man and could not hold it off his fingertips. He lost it. Incomplete. Oh, Cameron Vidal wants that one back.
Tell you what, it looked like it hit him right in the hands. There was great coverage. There's a lot of hand play down there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't see a flag right there. A lot of hand play. Officials let him play. And I tell you what, great pass by Jonte McDowell right there. As you see him jogging off the field, puts it right in the hands. And as you said, Cameron Vidal would like that one back. Let's take a look at it on the replay right there. Great effort by the Covington secondary right there. And, just couldn't make the play right there.
Austin Means on 4th down and 10 will have to punt it away. No rush at all, so he's got time. Gets a good one. Coverage is very good. They outrun the punt, so there will be no return. It'll get a St. Paul bounce and be blown dead at the 28-yard line. A 43-yard punt by Austin Means. It's a doubleheader next week on the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. On Friday, catch the rematch of last year's 3A championship game as St. James meets Lutcher, another big rivalry. Then on Saturday, it's a key Catholic League matchup between John Curtis and St. Augustine. Watch the games live on SportsNola.com and catch the rebroadcast Saturday, October the 15th on WHNO. That's all next week on the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. First down for the Lions. They're at their own 28. They lead 14-7. They've got 1:11 to play with in this half and 5 on the play clock. Brumfield up the middle. And I think right now Greg Salter would just very much like to take this 14-7 lead into the halftime locker room.
Well, he's got 2 timeouts if he decides he wants to work with something here. He's got the ball in pretty good field position. Brumfield just picks up half of it. It's 2nd and 5 right here. However, they're being very careful trying to get into a position where they might want to take that shot, Ken.
2nd down and 5, as Wade just told you. Play action to Brumfield. They're going to take the shot. There's the penalty flag down. Pass interference. It was intended for Alonjay Earlycut. But there was some pushing going on between he and Bryson Brown, the young man you said they're picking on.
Right. They've been picking on him in the past 2 series. For some reason, they must see something off of film that Bryson Brown does in his coverage. They like their matchup with the receiver out there with Earlycut on him, and right there he gets caught for the interference penalty. I told you they were going to take a shot, and there was a shot that puts him right there at midfield.
And they still have 2 timeouts and 37 seconds to work with.
Here's a good look at it right here. They try to take a shot down the field. You can see Bryson Brown kind of pushing and shoving, and they didn't let that one go. And the early cut, obviously pleading his case right there, and he won.
And look, that's not a bad penalty. If you're beaten, it's better to give up 15 right there than give up a touchdown. And I think that, that might have been a good penalty by Bryson Brown. Clock continues to run because he couldn't get out of bounds on the far side. So Keyshawn Baptiste with the catch. Timeout called by the Covington Lions with 28 seconds to play in the half.
He's a good look right there. Out route right there. Great coverage by the St. Paul secondary. They tackle him inbounds. That forces Covington to have to take their second timeout of this half with 28 seconds left on the clock. He needed to get out of bounds, needed to stop the clock. They didn't want to waste the timeout, but he couldn't get there. Hence, you're going to have to call the timeout, which is going to bring up a 2nd and 3. But it isn't about the 2nd and 3. It's about the time on the clock and the one timeout you have left to try to get it into field goal position.
Catch Prep Recruiting Insider Wednesdays on WHNO, our series focusing on the world of high school recruiting. Rick Gailey and Renee Nato take an in-depth look at the best prospects in our area, past and present. It's PRI each Wednesday at 6 here on WHNO TV 20. This week, it's Brother Martin. And I think Rick Gailey's going to be on an all-time high with that big Letcher and St. James game coming up next Friday night. So it's going to be a fiery week for Coach Rick Gailey, too. He still brings back memories of that rivalry for him.
I don't think he's going to want to handicap that, so he'll probably leave his comments off of the show that night.
Wisely so. 2nd down 2. Will they go for it all? There's the play action. There's the scoop catch. And Milton Clark gets the first down. That'll stop the clock while they move the chains at 22 seconds. The chains are not set yet, so Covington can't snap the ball. They got to wait for the chains to be set. As soon as they're set, Joshua Alfaro, the quarterback, is ready to go, and he spikes the ball quickly to stop it right there. 19 seconds now to go in the half, and good clock management by Covington.
Good clock management. They run a run-pass option right there. They hit the 3rd receiver inside on the slant. If that ball had been better thrown, he would have hit him in stride, and possibly he could have split the secondary and gone into the end zone. The ball was a little underthrown, made him kind of wait to catch the ball, and he gets knocked down right there.
2nd down 10. The downs right here are not as important as making the plays. Timeout St. Paul's. They had all 3 of theirs, so they take one here. They have 2 remaining with 19 seconds to play. And right now, what do you think is going on in the chess match between the coaches and these 2 huddles, Wade?
Well, right there, I don't know exactly why St. Paul would call a timeout unless you don't have the right secondary call. You didn't get your call in from the sideline. Don't know. You got one to waste. If you didn't have things right, go ahead and waste that thing because you're going to probably not get the ball back in 19 seconds, so you're not playing to get possession.
If you're interested in purchasing a DVD copy of today's game, send an email to PREP at sportsnola.com or call our offices at 504-681-0120. During normal business hours, you will receive a reply with more information on how to purchase a DVD. I know the Celestine, Clarks, and Fords are going to be purchasing a DVD, and there's the press box high above.
Is it right about halfway up, Ken? Is that where you had to stop and get oxygen?
Yeah, the MH, guys came, Oshner came, everybody came.
Oshner was here for you. There you go.
You better believe it, man.
Don't feel bad. I think that happens to a lot of people up here.
Here's your 2nd down 10, right up the middle. The spinning Brumfield goes down for a few more. The clock continues to run. They've got another timeout. The Lions do if they want to use it. 12 seconds. They called it, I believe. Yes, they called it. They called it with 12 seconds. Now Covington has no more timeouts remaining.
I like the call. I like the run. Obviously they're getting it to where they can take a shot right here in 12 seconds. They have it is 3rd down, so no, they can't take a shot. All right, if they elect to try to get a little bit more yardage to set up a 4th down field goal, if they take a shot right here for the end zone, then they're kicking it right here from this spot. So they're out of timeouts.
Or you take 2 shots if you decide that it's too long for your field goal kicker. You could settle on that second Hail Mary.
Well, that's the thing. So it's a little long for their field goal kicker. So
wait, they put 3 seconds back on the clock. Now it's back to 15 seconds. It was down to 12.
That helps, but you got to also remember you've only got 2 downs left in this series.
4 to get the first down, but that only stops the clock, and you'd have to spike the ball quickly. Might give you one extra play.
You're going to have to get up there quick if you run the ball. Got to get there and spike it.
Devin Brumfield behind Alfaro.
Clock will stop if they move the chains.
Going to go for the sideline pass, incomplete, down low. That'll stop the clock with 12 seconds. Now we're back to 12 on that, intended for early cut, too low.
Now they're going to have to kick it if they want to. It just depends on the distance of their kicker, if he has it, and I think that is for, I think that's Devin Jenkins, if I'm not mistaken.
Devin Jenkins has a good, strong leg. He's 2 for 2 on field goals this year.
Well, it looks like they've made their decision. It's too far for him, so they're going to go for it on
But as long as 30, that's the thing.
Right,
so
right. So
this would be 45. That's a little bit out of his range.
They've got to get the sticks if they're going to have a shot at anything here to score.
He's going for it all in the end zone on the far side, and he's got caught. It's caught. Flag on the play. Flag on the play. Keyshawn Batiste, they have not signaled touchdown yet, so hold on. This might be offensive pass interference. They have not signaled touchdown yet. The officials are talking about it. Let's see.
Oh, there you go.
Offensive pass interference, man.
Let's see if we can see it right here. I didn't see it out of that look. If we could catch it a little bit earlier, we might be able to see. But I'll tell you what a great pass. Let's see what we've got out of this look. Oh, there's your push right there. High to the face mask, right up under the chin. I would have called that too. You know, I mean, 25 being a solid football player that he is right there. He's screaming. That's Jack Bonaldi screaming, throw the flag because I just got pushed off on. And I don't think Keyshawn Batiste is very happy with that either. So, you know, the judge is the official, and those two guys are the attorneys. And St. Paul's attorney won that one right there, Jack Bonaldi.
Well, they do have a 4th down play with 4 seconds. So here, oh, wow, Alfaro is bombed into from behind. My goodness, by Noah Seiden.
Tell you what, Noah Seiden comes off the edge and just lights up Alfaro. No chance to get that ball off right there.
Get the number of that truck. It is halftime, and the Covington Lions, as you look at Noah Seiden just lower the boom on the quarterback. It's a 14-7 lead. Covington
doesn't, because I know these two defenses, as said as we talked in our halftime show, their reputation coming into this football game. And I tell you what, everything is coming true about how good these guys play on defense, and it's showing here tonight. So no, it does not surprise me at all.
Covington had won the opening toss. They deferred, so they will get the ball to start the second half, and could be a lot worse had they not had the offensive pass interference penalty to end the second half, nullifying a touchdown catch. It might be 21-7, so let's see. Austin Means has been squibbing, but he's going to send this one deep. And this one will be returned by Mason Cialona. Let's go downstairs to Les East to talk with the coaches. Les?
Yeah, guys. Coach Greg Salter for Covington obviously was not happy with that offensive pass interference call at the end of the first half. He went and talked to a couple of the officials going off the field. He felt like the defensive back was face guarding and never turned to try and make a play on the ball. But that's not going to make any difference in the second half. Otherwise, he was very happy with the way the first half went and, of course, getting the ball to start the second half. So he was feeling pretty good about things. On the other side, Ken Sears, the St. Paul's coach, really says it just comes down to fundamentals. Penalties are killing their drives offensively. They're making other fundamental mistakes just in blocking and tackling. If they can do the basics of the game better, he feels better about the second half. Ken?
Les, Devin Brumfield on the ground as Covington did a great job in the second quarter of controlling the ball, not hurting themselves with penalties and eating up a lot of time on the clock. Joshua Alfaro, the quarterback, leading this, had good numbers in the first half of this game.
Well, Ken Sears right. A lot of things do get down to fundamentals, and they've gone to a five-man line now to try to put a little added pressure on that Covington offense.
Brumfield bounces to the outside of that five-man front, but is tackled way short of the first down.
Once again, the ball carrier.
Well,
so now you're looking at third down and about 5.
Right. St. Paul's has brought in number 24, Brandon Barrero, 5'11", 235-pound senior, playing a little nose guard position for them in their five-man front. And just as I say that, they go back to their four-man front. But he was in there on their last play.
Protecting the throw, maybe, dropping one person back. 4 of 7 on third down conversions. There's the fake to Brumfield, and that didn't fool anybody. Alfaro tackled way short of the first down. He struggles just to get back to the line of scrimmage and may have lost a half yard. So Covington will have to punt their first possession of the second half away to the St. Paul's Wolves.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a big, big series right there for that St. Paul Wolf defense, making and forcing Covington to have to punt the ball. Great look right there. We've seen now St. Paul's do a few things defensively. They've been in their three-man front. They've been in their five-man front. Now they got back into their four-man front to stuff that Covington running game.
Second 3 and out for them. Fair catch called for and made by Matt Myers. So we'll see St. Paul's offense get that football pretty quickly here in the second half, and we'll see if they got maybe a little attitude adjustment at halftime from Kenny Sears.
Well, I'm sure he did, because I'm sure he pointed out a couple things from them. He already talked about the penalties, but the big thing is you can see Jonte McDowell in his first half numbers right there. But I'm sure Kenny Sears pointed out to them that we got to get something going on offense, because I tell you what, this Covington line defense has stuffed them, except for their first drive, which was 13 plays, 60 yards. Their other 4 drives were all 3 and outs, and they were -3 on those 4 drives. -3 yards.
Inside screen to TJ Bedford goes nowhere. They were waiting for that one. Maybe a yard for Timothy Bedford.
Good look at it right here. They try to throw it out there to Bedford on the quick screen. Nowhere to go by this Covington defense as they get to the ball, led by a host of line tacklers.
Jonte McDowell. Good look there at TJ Bedford. 5 touchdown catches on the season, but none tonight. Covington has kept him in check, showing a little bit of blitz. It's a throw over the middle, caught by Bedford. Bedford almost breaks loose. He's pulled down from behind inside the 45-yard line.
Jonte McDowell threads the needle right there to get the ball into hands of Timothy Bedford. You can see it right here on the slant. Look at this. boom, right in there between two line defenders for a great pass and catch right there.
14-yard gain, moves the chains, first down. See St. Paul's playing with a sense of purpose on this drive. McDowell hands off to Williamson. Williamson stuffed, pushed back, refuses to go down.
I'll tell you what, that was Anthony Ford right there. Did a great job against the two pullers from from St. Paul's High, who tried to kick him out. He comes underneath the two pullers and makes a nice play. Here's a good look at it on the counter play. There's number 60, Vincifora, and then there's number 40 right there, Anthony Ford, doing a great job shutting that counter down.
Lost 2, second down, 12. Lots of time. McDowell with the toss, finds Bedford again. Now they're finding their ace receiver, and they're using him. He was stifled in the first half, but picks up a first down on this drive to keep the chains moving forward. Another first down for the Wolves.
Tell you what, he goes to his second progression right here and hits Bedford. When we're talking about progressions, he looks first at the first prime receiver and then comes to his second progression. His prime receiver is covered, comes to the second read. Right there, good look at Bedford. Big guy, 6'4", 190-pound receiver.
Hunter Spell checks into the line to add a little bit more pressure. Bedford again in the middle of 4 blue jerseys, and he's got another first down to the 15-yard line. Boy, all of a sudden, McDowell and Bedford have become a dynamite duo.
Well, we said in the early part of the game this evening that Bedford was going to be the guy that Jonte McDowell was going to look to get the ball in the hands of. He runs really nice routes. He has really nice hands. He's a big, nice-looking receiver that can go up and catch the ball in the crowd and take some punishment.
Austin Russell's covering him man-to-man on this play. First down, St. Paul's trying to tie this game up. Here comes some pressure. He escapes it. Throws one into the end zone. It's up high, and it's batted down incomplete.
That was Trevor Betts putting the pressure on Jonte McDowell right there, coming from his defensive end position. Tell you what, Jonte McDowell did a nice job. It always helps to have a quarterback that can elude the rush. He sidestepped, kept his feet alive, and at least got the ball out there and avoided that big sack. Here's a good look at your pressure right here. There's Trevor Betts coming off the edge. Oh, very nice athletic talent right there by McDowell. He got a hand on him, Trevor Betts did, but just couldn't get him down.
Second down, 10. At the 14-yard line of Covington. McDowell taking his time. Here comes pressure, throws it, caught, touchdown. Touchdown, and once again it's Thomas Celestine.
Thomas Celestine right there against man coverage. Covington goes into what is known as zero coverage and covers a man across the board. I'm covering you, you're covering him, you're covering him. Basketball coverage, man on man. Celestine runs a slant route, gets a step on the defender, and I tell you what, Jonte McDowell puts it right on the target on the slant route to Celestine. Touchdown.
Thomas
Wolves.
Celestine, 1 touchdown coming into this game. He's got 2 tonight. 2. He's having the game of his life right now for the St. Paul's Wolves. And what a catch. He's only got 2 receptions, 35 yards, and both of them were for touchdowns. Penalty.
Covington lines up in the neutral zone, so they kill the play on the extra point. They'll put it half the distance to the goal line.
Now, we're talking about Celestine's catch, but what about that throw by Jonte McDowell? Boy, for a little guy at 5'11", he's got something on that football.
Well, it started with the route Celestine. Celestine does a great job getting separation in the man coverage, and then McDowell, as you said, just puts it right on the target.
Point after is up. And guess what? Once again, we are tied here in this cross-town rivalry between Covington and St. Paul's. Beautiful Jack Salter Stadium. Great crowd on hand for this one. Always tough to find an empty seat. The only empty seats you saw belonged to the Covington band, and they're making their way back to those seats. Touchdown on the board. They haven't even got to return to their seats yet. Here's your low squib kick again. This one's going to go out of bounds.
This one is out of bounds.
Kick it over or take it. Another look at the TD while they decide.
There's your slant route. Bang. Celestine hits him right in the hands. He beats man coverage. Great throw. Great catch. And I tell you what, I would take the ball on the 35-yard line. That's what I would do.
I would too. Hey, Kenny Sears said this week a lot of his players were sick during the week. Some other players worked very hard in practice. He wanted to try to use some of those players a little bit more. I think Thomas Celestine was one of those players that worked hard in practice. Getting a call tonight, he's responded with 2 touchdown catches.
Well, and that's awesome. That's what a good football coach does. He wants to get everybody in his team involved in things, not only in practice, but try to get them in games. And when you're called upon and your number's called, you got to be able to perform, and that was a good job by Celestine on that particular slant route.
Good look at Joshua Alfaro. He has quarterbacked this Covington team to 2 nice touchdown drives himself. Had to punt their first offensive possession of the second half away. Let's see what they can do in the second offensive possession of the second half. Brumfield over the right side to the 40 for a gain of 3.
Tell you what, great blocking up front right there by the Covington line, offensive line. You can see them get a crease right there. There's the kick out block right there. Brumfield rumbles and picks up 4 yards.
Yeah, but a little bit more than 3 on that one. Brumfield kept in check for the most part by St. Paul's tonight. 14 rushes, 36. We're going to go good fake to him. There's one tipped up in the air. It's a try. Does he get it? No.
Tell you what, hit the receiver right in the hands. Great chance by Robert Bukoy right there from his free safety position to try to get a scoop on that ball. But here's a good look from the field on a handheld look from our camera on the field. Right through his hands, tip ball drill. Nope, hits the ground.
Now, Bukoy's got a big frame. He's 6'4". He can stretch way out, and he almost got, he used all 6'4" of his frame that time to try to get that ball. Look at that big, tall guy. Robert Bukoy. Good tackles number. Almost had that second pick. Here's third down. Play action again. Alfaro with time, has an open man, and he throws it too high and misses Milton Clark.
Another missed catch. Milton Clark should have had that ball.
Yeah, he knows it too.
But you know, you see,
catchable.
They've got a couple of receivers open in the passing game. But you know who's causing that to take place? Brumfield is. They've held him in check tonight, but it's opening up other key things for that Covington offense. It's just that they haven't connected on it. You know, they connected on the touchdown pass in the second quarter. They just missed 2 open receivers right there. They're going to have to connect on those things if they want to continue to keep pace with St. Paul.
Devin Jenkins, a little bit shorter than his 34 yards a punt average. Fair caught by Matt Myers. And that's how close Covington came to moving the chains. High but touchable. After a 19-yard punt, good field position for St. Paul's to start this drive. They will keep it on the ground and just try the middle.
St. Paul's coming out in another formation right there.
That's the first time we see Logan Davenport carry tonight. He's the backup to Corey Williamson. Again, Williamson was sick during the week, felt a little better tonight, wanted to play. We have not seen Davenport, a junior, short little guy, 5'7", but runs hard. We've got a shaken up St. Paul's player on the field. And while they attend to him, I remind you that Mondays on WHNO Sports, it's Sports NOLA TV. Hall of Famer Ricky Jackson, Brian Ellie Walsh, and host Ken Trahan break down the Saints college and prep action and debate the hot topic of the week. That's Sports NOLA TV each Monday at 6 here on WHNO TV 20. Great look at that crowd. Hard to find an empty seat in this stadium, especially when The guys you're playing are 3 miles down the road. They used to be 3 blocks away from each other before Covington moved to this location.
Well, I tell you what, it's wonderful. 2 schools in the same city, Covington, get a chance to meet every year on the field. They're in the same district. All right, they've been in the same district for a long time, District 6 5A, and they're not only rivals, but it competes. It gives a great competition factor throughout the city of Covington, building up to this football game on Friday night. I can see Jack Salter himself, I think, is sitting over there in the end zone near the 25-second clock. That's usually where he likes to sit.
And he built this place, won a state title here, got to the finals one more time in his career. Produced some great football teams here. Toss, and there's Davenport being used as a receiver. He can go either way as a running back or a receiver. He's got great hands, moves the chains. First down, Davenport.
I love the scheme, Ken. They run Davenport out of the backfield on a wheel route. They give up something in the protection to get the back out into the flats out there, but he continues on up the field on what we call a wheel route, and they hit him right in his hands for a great first down pickup.
That was the 5th first down for St. Paul in this half as they throw out to Matt Myers. Myers breaks a tackle. Look at the cut inside by Matt Myers, spinning away. Matt Myers, look at this. He's going to go all the way. What great effort by Matt Myers, 43 yards and a touchdown.
Well, we've heard about Matt Myers and what type of athlete he is. He just showed it right there. He broke 2 or 3 tackles on a bubble route out there on the wide receiver screen, catches it, and then gets into the end zone. I tell you what, great effort right there by Matt Myers.
That's a wow play right there. Taking it all the way in for the score. Austin Means, the place kicker, number 12, in to attempt the point after. Christian Roberts, the defensive back. You saw him as number 20. He is your holder. Flag down. Play clock ran down. Nope, take that back. They reset it.
Somebody lined up in the neutral zone, so they stop it for the kick. Move it half the distance.
I was going to say, as they were throwing that pass to Matt Myers, that last first down was the 5th first down for St. Paul's in this second half. They had 5 total in the first half. So St. Paul's has found it in the halftime locker room, and they have brought it to the third quarter and lead 21-14. And here's your boot. This one will go into the end zone, come back out to the 23, play 58-yard drive, 34 seconds that time for St. Paul to score. Now look at the touchdown that gives them the lead in this game.
Great pass out here on the bubble screen. And look at number 11 right there. I tell you what, Matt Myers breaks about 5 or 6 tackles and then takes it to the end zone. I tell you what, they're going to get a little chew on the Covington sideline about tackling technique, and I can look down at their sideline right now. They understand what they did wrong, because that's a prideful defense. All right, to give up something like that, they're a little hurt and little stunned, and they're trying to get those things fixed right now. Good look at Ken Sayers right there. Whatever he said at halftime to his St. Paul's Wolves have certainly come out and turned things around for their offense here in the second half.
Whatever he said, bottle it, sell it, and you'll make some money there. Raise a little money for the athletics department because it worked. Run right up the middle on first down. This 21-14 lead is the first lead of the game by St. Paul's.
What I've noticed about the St. Paul's defense in this second half, they've made a change in their defensive front. They're giving either a 4-man look or a 5-man look, whereas they were giving Covington a lot of 3-man looks in the first half. Now it's exclusively getting 7 to 8 people in the box and say, hey, look, we'll give up the pass. We're not going to let Brumfield hurt us on the run.
And that's what they've done. They stifled Brumfield. You saw the numbers earlier. Hasn't gotten to 50 yards yet. There's the play action to Brumfield and the toss. It's out there. Mason Cialona. Cialona with running room across the 50 and down inside the 45-yard line.
Well, I tell you right there, on target, Alfaro did not miss his receiver, Cialona. Nice throw on the slant route to Cialona. Cialona gets some lanyard after the catch. Great.
Christian Roberts.
I'm sorry, was that Christian Roberts?
Christian Roberts on a tackle.
On the tackle. I'll tell you what. So I tell you what, that was a great executed play by the Covington Lion offense.
34-yard gain gives the Covington Lions their first down of the second half in this game. And there is a give to Henry Chasson with his first carry of the game.
Henry Chasson taking it right up the middle on the inside zone right there. He is Devin Brumfield's backup. He's 5'8", 165 pounds, and he's a senior.
Well, he got it down there to the 40-yard line, give him 3 yards. Makes it second down 7, and now Brumfield back in.
You know, Brumfield comes out of last week's game with Slidell with a slightly high ankle sprain, so he comes out tonight to see how it's going to work, and so far he's been running well. Like I said, he does a lot, just not running the ball.
This one to early cut, and crowd wants a flag, but I didn't see any contact at all, and I thought some pretty good coverage by Bryson Brown on that one.
Well, there was a little incidental contact at the beginning of the route. Somewhere right towards the end, there was separation from the receiver and the defensive back. I think what the Covington coaches want there, they wanted the holding penalty called as he was in the middle of his route.
Good look at Joshua Alfaro, 6'3", big, tall quarterback, 215 pounds, a junior.
Good things lie ahead for him, Ken. He's got a live arm, and he's got great feet. You know, he's definitely a prospect.
Oh, I can see over any defensive line, offensive line in trouble here, and he escapes. Finally caught from behind and pulled down.
Tell you what, he bought himself some time, but
Mashburn.
Right, Mashburn comes through and catches him. There was a blitz on St. Paul's brought 5 people. He's standing in there. Look how he gets escaped from this right here. He's big, he's strong, but finally it closes down by Mashburn and Seaton. Tell you what, he bought himself some time. He's a very athletic young man.
Now the Lions have to punt it away again. And St. Paul's will just let it roll dead. At about the 20-yard line, a 30-yard punt. So with 3:42 to play in this third quarter, St. Paul's gets the football. They've scored on their first 2 possessions.
Well, they found a combination, and that combination is McDowell to Bedford. I mean, Bedford has come alive right now. He's picked up a ton of yards for these guys. He's been running great routes, and Jonte McDowell has been on target, hitting him right in his hands. But
the change you talked about on defense also, as you take a look at the Covington sideline and Coach Greg Salter, that's made a big difference because it's been punt, punt, punt on all 3 possessions for Covington here in this third quarter. Running play, not much on first down. Again, still Logan Davenport in for Corey Williamson. Remember, we talked about now Williamson a little sick during the week.
Tell you what, I just saw a new formation used by St. Paul's right there. 3 backs in the backfield, motioning one of them to the hip position to be able to block for their inside zone running game.
Second down 6. Got a man over the middle and a first down and more. across the 40, up to the 42. Matt Myers again. Put the ball in his hands. He's doing some wild things.
Oh, I'll tell you what, who makes that thing go right there is Jonte McDowell. Not open, not open. Oh, there's my third receiver. I think I'm going to dump it off to Matt Myers right there for a big gain. Tell you what, I am impressed with these quarterbacks tonight. These guys are playing well for the most part, especially Jonte McDowell right there on that play, that huge athletic play by that sophomore.
17-yard gain. Wallace coming out right now. That's Sherman Wallace. Getting a little breather on the sideline.
Well, Sherman Wallace is one of their better linebackers. He's had a great season so far this year. 5'10", 220-pound senior. They're going to probably shake some cobwebs out of him and get him back onto the field.
Clock just started. Under 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. St. Paul's with it again. They've scored on their first 2 possessions of the second half to take their first lead of this ball game, 21-14. Here's the toss back to Davenport, and Davenport just on that toss sweep around the right side up to the 45-yard line. How important is it right here, Wade, for Covington to get a stop? Because if St. Paul scores and goes up by 2 touchdowns, the momentum is already swung in their direction. What can Covington do?
Well, it's about the momentum. They've got to get a stop right here, and it's huge that they can try to get St. Paul's to punt. 2, like you said, change that big momentum.
Davenport again. We'll go over the left side, close, but it'll be third down and short.
Well, it's real manageable, and I like what St. Paul's is doing right now offensively, still changing their personnel back and forth and changing a lot of formations around to try to keep this Covington defense kind of off tilt.
Now you've got Corey Williamson back in there, so maybe he just needed a little breather. He's got it. There's the roll. He's blocking for him all the way here, and they go to T.J. Bedford, and Bedford's got the first down before being driven out of bounds.
Jonte McDowell sprints out to his right. He moves the pocket by sprinting out to his, skews his left. Does a great job getting the ball out there to Bedford on the out route on the boundary.
Did you use these, Wade, when you were coaching?
No, I did not. I couldn't draw that. I mean, you see this all over college now and all over high school. I have no idea what those things are.
You have to guess which one is active. The other 3 are decoys, right?
Well, okay,
sometimes.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm just taking a guess.
Or is it just to hold them up and let everybody out there think that they have something to do with it, and there's nothing to do with it at all? I mean, who knows?
Davenport for 1, or rather 2 on the left side.
I mean, I wasn't that smart. I mean, I couldn't come up with a heart hands prayer, and I don't know what that. Oh, that's the Hulk ripping his shirt off. And what is that orange thing there? The Western Kentucky mascot, the Hilltopper?
My goodness.
I tell you what, it has something to do with something. That's all I can tell you.
McDowell, throws it over the head of Grant Grosh.
He airmails that. Tell you what, that was not a good throw. He's made a bunch of good throws in this second half already. That wasn't a good throw. He airmailed that because he had a wide receiver, Grant Grosh, wide open right out there on a curl route, and 10 feet above his head, didn't have the opportunity to
I
get
think
the
he saw that sign that was open last time, that guy tearing his chest off. He thought it was the Incredible Hulk and just tossed one like the Incredible Hulk. So overshot everybody. McDowell, second half numbers, 85 yards, 8 for 10, 85 yards and a TD. Here's your third down, 9. Has the man, has the first, has a little bit more inside the 25-yard line. And they're making it look sometimes just a little bit easy. Grant Grosh again. This time he didn't overthrow him, hit him right on the numbers.
They're wearing out the post route. Covington sitting in a 3-high secondary with their free safety in the center of the field. Those corners are letting those number 1 wide receivers get the inside release on them, which is setting up the post route, and they're wearing it out. St. Paul's is wearing out the post.
Fumble, but the Wolves jump on it. They'll lose a yard, but Matt Myers saved it for St. Paul's. St. Paul's is picking up the pace just a little bit.
Right, you can see the fumble right here. Ball's on the ground. Heads-up play right there, getting on the ball. Again, that was Matt Myers who does everything. Recovers fumbles, returns punts, return kicks off, catches passes, plays some defense, drives the bus, and he draws the pictures for those cards.
Now the clock's going to run out in the third quarter here. 5 seconds to play in the third. St. Paul's is driving, and they lead by a touchdown. After 3, St. Paul's 21, Covington 14 at Jack Salter Stadium in Covington. We're ready with the fourth quarter. Ken Berthelot, Wade Kaiser, Les East down on the field. Tommy Cooper with us up in the booth along with Leah Kaiser, our entire WHNO TV crew, bringing you some great angles, great shots tonight. 1 quarter to play. It's the Covington Lions and the St. Paul Wolves. St. Paul's has scored 14 unanswered points to take their first lead of the game, 21-14, and they are threatening again at the 26-yard line. Second down, 12. Jonte McDowell with a good fake. Throwing against the grain. He's got a man on the other side. And this one is going to be inside the 5-yard line. But that's Zach Gallagher, his first catch. But hold on, there's a flag. This one might be coming back. Flag back at the 23-yard line.
Zach Gallagher on the receiving end. There is a flag on the field.
All right, they had a lineman downfield on that. On the play-action pass on the bootleg. All right.
Going to wipe out a 34-yard gain.
Exactly. Lineman downfield, and I don't think Ken Sayers likes that too much.
Oh, you're inside the 5 with first and goal. You just wiped out a 34-yard gain. It's going to cost you more yardage here.
Well, it isn't so much that. Mostly on play-action passes, the problem is there's a fine line about those offensive linemen getting downfield. They're trying to sell run on everything, but you know, was he downfield? Was he not downfield? That's a fine line on play-action passes. That was a play-action pass. It was a bootleg. Great fake in the backfield, hitting the fullback, Zach Gallagher, right out into the flats.
After 6 penalties for 82 yards in the first half, that's the first penalty coming here on the first play of the fourth quarter in the second half of this game. Ended up being a 39-yard play against the Wolves. Look at this, throwing the other way, and it's underthrown, incomplete. Intended for Logan Davenport. He can fly. Covered very well by Avery Mendham.
I tell you what, Avery Mendham wasn't fooled for a second. Jonte McDowell sprinted to his left, threw back against the grain to his receiver, and right there with great coverage was Avery Mendham, locked up backside. Great job by that Covington defender, Avery Mendham.
Avery Mendham is just carrying on a family tradition. His dad, Blake Mendham, was an all-state linebacker for Jack Salter in Covington way back in 1989, 1990.
Well, that's the great thing about a lot of these schools in these small towns. Their dads play, and it's handed down to their son.
Third down long. McDowell, look out. And he'll step out of bounds short of the first down. They're in field goal range, but you've only got 4th and 5 coming up. Talking about legacies, let's go downstairs to Les East.
Yeah, guys, there's a lot going on this season and this weekend with regards to tradition at Covington High School. Of course, it's been 40 years since the Lions won their state championship, but also this particular weekend is significant. Members of the 1960, 61, and 62 football teams were recognized in the first half. They're sitting up in the stands. Also, tomorrow night is the 20th anniversary reunion of the class of 1996. One of those members of that class was Greg Salter, the head coach of the Covington Lions. Back to you, Ken.
Austin Means a little bit wide to the right on a 37-yard field goal attempt. So the lead remains 21-14. St. Paul's with a 1-touchdown lead over Covington.
I tell you what, it was a good stop by the Covington line defense. The big play right there for the stop was the throwback pass in which Avery Mindheim did a great job not leaving his receiver, and nowhere for that receiver to try to break onto the ball, forces that 37-yard field goal.
Kenny Sears disappointed it didn't go through, but he knows his team still got the 1 touchdown lead. 1st and 10, 20-yard line, Covington. Alfaro with time. He's going to Keyshawn Batiste, and Batiste is out to the, well, let's see where they're going to mark it. 29-yard line. 1 yard short, rather, of the first down.
Good look at it again right here. You can see Alfaro fake the run inside. On the run pass option, it's an RPO. They got the numbers, and when I talk about the numbers, the box gives them, they throw it out there to Keyshawn Batiste, but I think it's going to be for naught because they're going to bring it back on a holding penalty or a motion penalty. It looked like a motion penalty that they're going to bring it back, and it's going to make it 1st and 15. You're behind the sticks where you don't want to be.
Referee is Matt Rishu. So let's make it 1st down, 15 now. At the 15-yard line. 3rd penalty against Covington tonight. Alfaro. He just gets rid of it.
Well, oh, here we go. We got a flag down, and I know what they're going to call. But they're going to discuss it, but I have a feeling they're going to call intentional grounding. Let's see what happens. Yes, that's what he's calling.
That'll be loss of down too, right?
That should be a loss.
Yep.
Should be a loss of down.
He was trying to throw it away.
He got out of there. It started as a broken play. Brumfield went one way. Alfaro went the other way. Got chased out of there, just trying to throw it away. And there was no receiver in that area. So they're going to back it up from the previous spot. Right, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be from where you threw the ball. It's going to be the penalty. It is not a loss of down. So where he threw it from was back at about the 4-yard line. So now it's half the distance to the goal line. They're going to place the ball at about the 2.
But it's 2nd down again.
And it's 2nd down again. It was my mistake. I said it should have been a loss of down, but it is not one of the 3 big loss of down penalties in high school football.
From the end zone, flicks it out. Oh, Batiste couldn't get it. And Covington begging for the flag. They're not going to get it.
A lot of contact on that again.
Did you see the way?
Had a go work. Let's see the handwork right
just
here.
flick.
Let's look at this handwork. Push. Great job right there by 25. I tell you what, that was a very good job getting his hand up. Jack Benaldi doing a great job knocking that ball away right there. I did not see interference on that. I know the Covington Lions were trying to get that called, and I don't blame them, but I did not see interference right there.
You know what?
In
slow-mo, it didn't look like there was interference, but in the bang action, real time, it did. 3rd down now from the end zone. He's going to go the other way, and he's going to overthrow everybody. Closest person to it was a St. Paul defender, and that was Bryson Brown.
Well, they're trying to take 2 shots out of the back of their end zone right there, and both of them for naught. One was a great play on defense by Benaldi. The second one was an overthrow right there by Alfaro. Now they're going to force them to punt out of the back of their end zone. And let's talk about the reason why they're here again, Ken. It was the intentional grounding call that put them back in this situation.
Saw Devin Jenkins checking to see how close he was to the back of the end zone because he cannot step out of that. Here comes the rush. He gets it off. Just gets it off. And Matt Myers somehow again escapes. Matt Myers is Houdini, but they called him down. They're bringing this one back. They called him down. Matt Myers is going, wait a minute, how can you call me down? I'm still moving. We'll take a look at that when we come back. Let's take a break. 10:33 to play in this game. 21-14. Another look at that punt return.
There's
Was
Matt
he
Myers
down or
on
did
the
he
punt
escape? That's close. I can't tell.
I tell you what, it looked like possibly his left knee touched the ground. The official had a better view of it from being behind the play.
St. Paul's has got a better view of the goal line from the 35-yard line of Covington, and Matt Myers on first down will try to make up for that run that he feels was taken away from him on the punt return, and he's got another first down, but he's limping off the field on the other side and goes down. You can see Matt Myers in pain. That's a cramp.
Bubble screen out there to Matt Myers. Look at the blocking out there. Great job. And he's tripped up right there by Austin Russell, and he's getting up. I'm hoping that's a cramp. Looks like they might be looking at his knee over there.
Well, I hope not, because that young man's got some moves that are fun to watch. Got the first down for the Wolves. They'll just try it right up the middle, nothing fancy. Big pushback by the Covington defensive line. Corey Williamson nowhere to go. He was hit by a bunch.
Ran the inside zone. Corey Williamson back into the game. Once again, he had been fighting sickness all week in practice, and they didn't know if he was going to be in the lineup tonight or not. Looks like it is a cramp over there on the sidelines. They're holding his ankle back in position, and it looks like he might have a cramp in that calf right there. Great shot by our camera crew. Matt Myers hopefully will get back in the game, get over that cramp.
Watch it, Thomas Celestine's in the game. He's dangerous anywhere around the goal. They're going to go deep, no one there. Overthrow of Grant Grosh, number 13, closest man to it.
Well, you know, not really a good throw right there. I don't know if he threw that away because he saw the coverage was real tight, and let's just sail it out the back of the end zone and live to play another down here on third down. Probably. That's what I'm thinking the quarterback
why
did.
not play it safe?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you're deep in Covington's territory. You got a one touchdown lead.
Let's don't force it. Let's throw it
That's
away
it.
and play another down.
Smart play by a maturing quarterback. Little trouble with the snap, brings it down. He's going to the end zone again in this one, an overthrow intended for T.J. Bedford.
A lot of pressure put on.
Wait a minute, flag down back by the quarterback.
Oh my goodness, they're going to call personal foul on a Covington defender for hitting the quarterback late.
I'm saying, yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it's going to be. A lot of pressure put on back there. Must have been just a little bit too late. They're going to protect that quarterback. Here's our replay. Oh my goodness, yes. Ball's away, and you see right there definitely Anthony Ford in on that a little bit late coming in there, and one other defender from Covington got to him at the same time, and they're going to throw that every time. They're going to move it 15 yards from the previous spot, and it's going to be automatic first down.
Greg Salter going, oh man, we had him. It was fourth down, and we just gave them a free set of downs and a lot of yards to go with it, down to the 11-yard line.
Well, that's one of those mental mistakes, Ken, that can come back and haunt you big time.
Williamson straight ahead inside the 10-yard line and takes a few defenders with him for a ride of 2 more yards.
Well, you know, you get back to a personal foul like that, and I say this about every football game. I've always believed this. There's a handful of plays in every game that can make or break you. Personal fouls are usually one of those plays that can break you.
Corey Williamson running on that last one. He's still in there. Second down, 7. St. Paul's can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. At about the 1.5, almost 2-yard line. They're going to call timeout, the Wolves will, and St. Paul wants to talk about this. They're too close to squander the opportunity on second down and 7. Timeout, St. Paul's. Well, we have a moment. Let's take a look at the St. Paul's schedule coming up. They lost the first one to Carr, then reeled off 4 big wins in a row. Look at this. Next week, Ponchatoula at home. What a showdown that's going to be. They go to Slidell, then Mandeville and Fontainebleau. But notice they've got 3 home games, only 1 road game left after tonight.
Well, there you go. And, you know, they don't get any easier. You know, after a big rivalry week this week with Covington, then they got to turn around and look at Hank Tierney's Ponchatoula team and his option offense. So I'll tell you what, they do not get any easier at 6-5A for any opponent.
It's got a lot of the home games. Look, it's unless you're in New Orleans and everybody's playing at City Park where it doesn't matter, home or road game's the same. When you're up here, you get to comfortable confines of your own locker room, that means a lot. Second down, 7 after the timeout. They've talked about it. looking to the end zone. In trouble, escapes. Throws it incomplete down low just to get rid of the ball and avoid the sack intended for T.J. Bedford.
Well, Farrell makes that play happen right there. He escapes the rush right there, and he throws the ball away. Well, I tell you what, also, they had, if I'm not mistaken, if I saw that right, was that Kejon Baptiste back there at quarterback that had the ball that time? That is Kejon Baptiste.
No, McDowell's back there.
I'm sorry, McDowell. My fault. My mistake.
McDowell's back there with Corey Williams as in a running back. Watch Williamson going out. He's going to go to the end zone for T.J. Bedford. Instead, incomplete just off his fingertips. Here comes flags. Here comes flags, and flags being thrown against Austin Russell.
Well, I tell you what, McDowell took a shot also. He was slow getting up, and we're going to have an interference penalty against Covington in the secondary.
I thought he broke away from Austin. I'm not sure. Watch it. Oh, it's holding his hand.
Looked like he was holding his right hand with the defender's right hand, impeding his progress to get to the ball.
If you don't grab that right hand, it's probably a clean play.
That gave them by yardage a first down. I'm sorry.
A penalty.
Yeah,
the pass interference.
The penalty in high school no longer is it an automatic first down. It's going to bring up third down. You're going to get the yardage, but you don't get the first down anymore in high school football.
But they still can.
Right. Still 10-yard.
Scoreboard says first and goal, but it's actually third down 3. A first down can be made at the 1-yard line. Down. Looking at the end zone for Bedford. He tips it, can't come down with it. If he would have come down with it, he would have had possession near the first down marker, but he was not in the end zone. Now it's 4th down and 3. You got to bring the field goal in, go up by 2 scores with a little over 8.5 to play.
You're going to have to kick the field goal to get the 2 scores. There's no doubt about it. That's the smart thing to do right there. And I'm sure that's what St. Paul's is going to do. It's going to bring up a 21-yard field goal, it looks like.
That's almost like an extra point. Should be pretty much of a little chip shot for Austin Means. It's on the left hash, not straight away. He missed a 37-yarder from the left hash earlier in this half. Snaps put down, kicked up. It is good. So the field goal by Austin Means gives St. Paul's a little bit of breathing room. And the Covington fans are trying to rally their lines, who now trail by 10.
I tell you what, sometimes as a wide receiver, you have to play a defensive back because if it's an interception, you're going to have to strip that ball out of that defender's hands.
Yeah,
and that's what Batiste did right there. Good heads-up play by Batiste.
Big play by Benaldi without question. Now the punt coming from Devin Jenkins, and it's going to get a good Covington roll to midfield and be touched down at the midfield stripe. So with that, we'll take a break. 5:06 to play. St. Paul's has the football and a 10-point lead. Well, I'm thinking St. Paul's might be using a clock-eating drive right here for about 5 minutes. Corey Williamson with a big hole over the left side and a spin move to boot. He is across the 45 down to the 44-yard line, gain of 6.
Well, it's basically called a 4-minute offense. What you're going to do is you're going to try to eat as much of that 25-second clock as you possibly can to run down the game clock. They're going to slow the call in coming in from the sidelines. They'll take their time at the line of scrimmage, milk that 25-second clock all the way down. Good shot right there of Kenny Sayers saying these words, guys, 4-minute offense.
Practice that a lot. 4-minute offense, 2-minute offense. Right now it's the 4-minute offense to finish. Corey Williamson, left side. Nice move and another. And can't make the third move, but he's got the first down to move the chains, and the clock continues to run. Covington does have all 3 timeouts remaining.
Nice play right here on the outside zone stretch. Great jump right there. Just really shows his athleticism getting away from the first tackler. And he does a nice job staying inbounds to keep that clock running now 4:13, 4:12.
Corey Williamson said he had a little problem getting started this season. And after the shootout loss to Carr in game number 1, still had a little trouble in the Jesuit game. Then he said, man, the light bulb went on. He just found it. He got the mojo back, and that was part of not only the Jesuit win, but this St. Paul's team reeling off 4 wins in a row. Another run by Williamson to keep it on the ground. And when he finds his mojo, that's not good for the opponent.
Good look at it right here again. Covington might want to think about start using some of their timeouts at this point to try to be able to stop that clock. You know, they're 2 scores down. They've got to get a score quick, and that clock is just not their ally right now.
Williamson, good numbers tonight, 14 rushes, 55 yards. He's had 3 consecutive 100-yard games, and he has been the bread and butter man for this offense, along with this quarterback. Slipped down, so he just goes down.
I think Covington might want to take one of their timeouts, and they do right now. I think that's a pretty good job, pretty good call right there. It's a conservative call from the standpoint to try to make sure that there's some time left on the clock when they get the ball back.
Wait a minute. I want to say this. I really want to say this because we don't get a chance to say it very often. We said it one time in the first half. How many times can you say this in South Louisiana? Good clock management.
No.
All right, with that, let's take a look at the Covington schedule and see what the Lions have. And for the Lions, it's been win, and then tonight, unless they can do something very quickly, the streak is going to continue. WL, but we still have 3:12 to play. But look at this. They have 3 road games of their Final 4. They're at Fontainebleau, at Hammond, at Mandeville. Only North Shore comes in here. So it's not going to get any easier for the Covington Lions.
Well, they got a tough one at Fontainebleau next week, and as I said earlier, every time you in 6-5A, the next opponent is a tough one. And, you know, that's the mark of a fine district, and that's what they have up here on the North Shore in District 6-5A. All good football teams, all very competitive, no easy games.
Williamson on 3rd and 4 moves the chains, and that's going to give him a fresh set of downs. It's going to be very hard now for Covington with 2 timeouts to be able to stop that clock and get the ball back.
Well, one of the great things you have in a 4-minute offense is a great running back, and Williamson is doing this right here. Great, huge hole. Look at the size of that hole up front for Williamson to pick his way through. I tell you what, 4-minute offense is the medicine for a 4-minute offense is having a great running back executed. Good look at Ken Sears right there.
Ken Sears is so proud of this young man. You know, we've talked about some of the super seniors all the way going back to Puka Williams at Hanville, and of course we've talked about Brumfield. We talked about this young man right here. That last year's class, and when we said super sophomores, these guys now are all juniors. Timeout being called by Covington, but they didn't want any drop-off for these young men. They wanted them to develop as juniors and next year as seniors, and they've done just that. Ken Sears with guys like Corey Williamson and his other super juniors. They're ranked in the top 10 of Sports NOLA. They're down there as number 8. They play Ponchatoula next week.
Oh, that's going to be a great one. That is going to be a great one. St. Paul's Wolves, Ponchatoula.
Remember, he's got him at home. He's got him in Covington.
He's got him at home. Hank Tierney is going to have to go to St. Paul's, and that's where you're going to want to play that fine Ponchatoula team.
But Kenny Sears, I tell you what, credit him, because the halftime adjustments and what he told this team to motivate this team at halftime has made all the difference here in the second half, because it has been a total domination by the St. Paul's Wolves over Covington in this second half of football.
Well, the biggest change I saw out of the St. Paul's Wolves is out on offense. They came out with a purpose, and that purpose was getting the ball into number 17's hands, Timothy Bedford. And I tell you what, they did that a few times, and it really opened things up for them.
Fake to Williamson this time on the run. He'll toss it complete inside the 10-yard line to Zach Gallagher.
We saw this play earlier in the second half. The bootleg action, nice pass right here by McDowell out to Gallagher, coming out of the backfield, running the flat route. And it was called back earlier, but this time they executed properly on the bootleg action.
See Zach Day before that saying that was on me, the defensive back. And a good look right there at Gallagher. Again, one of the backups who just had a great week of practice, and that's what Sears was telling us before the game. He says, man, so many kids sick. Other kids worked so hard in practice, want to give them an opportunity to play, and he did. Look at Williamson. Look at him carry people with him into the end zone, fumble the football, but he got into the end zone first. Touchdown.
That's the dagger in the heart right there. I mean, that's executed perfectly through a 4-minute drive, coming up with some sort of points, and touchdown being those points that puts a dagger in your heart. Great look right there. One of
the toughest 8-yard runs.
He's limping a little bit, but I tell you what, that young man's got to feel good about himself.
I don't know if he
been sick all week.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if he pulled anything. I think he's just being sick all week, and I think he's just feeling bad right now.
Well, and I tell you what a great competitor he is. To fight through the feeling ill all week and coming out here tonight and putting a stamp on his performance with a great drive there in the 4-minute offense for the St. Paul Wolves.
Yeah, it looked like he was holding his stomach coming off. Hope he doesn't have a muscle pull in the stomach area. And then the point after. (31-14).
Here's a good look at it. They're running ISO right there. 2 backs leading up inside into a huge hole. Watch him drag the Covington Lions into the end zone. He fumbles the ball right there at the end, but Johnny on the spot is one of the St. Paul Wolves offensive linemen. Let's see who scored that touchdown for him. He's going to say he scored the touchdown because he fell on the fumble. All offensive linemen want to be able to do that.
You bet. You bet. Well, we certainly hope that Corey Williamson is okay. Coming off holding his stomach, and as we said a number of times, being sick all week, you just hope that he's okay. 1:58 is what we have remaining. Just under 2. And the St. Paul Wolves, who have dominated this series, winning 11 of the last 12, continues to dominate as they have put the icing on the cake with this one tonight. But not until they had a scare thrown into them by these Covington Lions, who had taken the lead at halftime, 14-7.
Here's
Covington
a good look
was trying
at the
to
strip
force
of the
a turnover.
line.
Yeah.
Watch this. Well, great strip right there by number 34.
Sherman Wallace.
Did a great job. That was Zach Bodenheimer stripping. I'm sorry, that was
Sherman Wallace.
Sherman Wallace.
And then Jeremiah Drya.
And then Bandon Barrero falls on it for the touchdown. for the St. Paul Wolves. I tell you what, good defense right there. It just was a little too late in the end zone already for the touchdown.
Alfaro at quarterback. He's in trouble, and he goes down.
You can't take sacks in a hurry-up offense.
Bradley Mashburn with the sack. Clock continues to run. No timeouts being called.
Some of the Lions are just kind of walking around down there. They need to hurry up, get lined up, and have a sense of urgency here and get going. Just try to do something quick, get on the board as a quick strike and quick kick an onside kick.
Make one statement out there. Make a run at it. Absolutely. Run right side by Jeremy Driver. Jeremy Driver, first carry tonight in there for the first time. Getting an opportunity to play, and he'll come off limping. Just go under the 1 minute 10 mark in this game.
Such a great first half by the Covington Lions. They kind of self-destructed in a few instances here in the second quarter. But what a great effort and a great game plan they came out with. And they had these St. Paul's Wolves on their heels for a half.
Incomplete, intended for Mason Ciolina. We are one tick under a minute to go in this game.
And then on the other hand, what a great job by that St. Paul's Wolves coaching staff making the adjustments they needed to make to get their offense going in the second half, Ken. They come out and they hit Bedford opens up the rest of the receiving passing game, and they score a couple of touchdowns to be able to pull away from the Covington Lions.
Take their first lead and pull away. Yeah, the third quarter was the TJ Bedford show.
Oh, there's no doubt.
It was the Timothy Bedford show without a question. Kenny Sears knows he's got a big win tonight, knows he's got that big game coming up against Ponchatoula at home for the Lions in Covington next week. There's Keyshawn Batiste. He'll go down.
Tell you what, right there, the ball's in the air. They might have gone to the wrong receiver right there because he had a wide receiver wide open. That was early cut that was vertical down the field. Might have had a chance to get a quick strike.
This is, again, still a very good Covington football team, and they've got a statement they can make with the rest of their schedule. Greg Salter still has the goal of returning the glory
I think
that his grandfather started here, Jack Salter.
I think you're right. They got a great football team. They've got a great coaching staff. I think this is going to be a playoff team when time comes around at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a couple things are going to have to happen. He's going to have to stay healthy, and we're talking about Josh Alfaro, because I tell you what, he does a great job avoiding the rush, as well as he does a great job throwing the ball, and he does a fine job leading their offense, and they're going to have to keep Brumfield healthy.
Moves very well for a big guy at 6'3", 215.
No doubt.
Good length. He's got a good stride with those long legs. Well, we were talking about making a statement, trying to put one on the board. They've got 18 seconds to do it. They're moving down the field. He's going to throw it out there incomplete. Intended for Batiste again. Batiste, an early cut, were kept in check tonight by the St. Paul's defense.
Well, they were kept in check, and also Brumfield was kept in check. I think St. Paul's defense lived up to their reputation tonight. As I said, we heard a lot about them coming in. A good look at the St. Paul's coaching staff again, and they did a great job on the skill folks from Covington.
Good step out of it by Alfaro. He's close to the first down to the 25, but that's going to be it because the game clock has run out. The final score in this one is St. Paul's 31, Covington 14, and St. Paul's now runs their record to 5-1, 3-0 in district, and we'll be back with our post game right after this. Back at Jack Salter Stadium, 31-14. St. Paul's the winner. Let's go downstairs to Les East with the winning coach.
Thanks, Ken. I'm here with the winning coach, Ken Sears of St. Paul's. Down 7 at halftime. You outscored them 24-0 in the second half. What made the difference?
You know, we made great adjustments at half. Credit my defensive coordinator and his staff. They did a great job. We changed fronts on them, changed some looks. We did a better job with penalties. We played good fundamentals second half. And we played in rhythm and played up-tempo on offense, what we wanted to do from the beginning. So we finally got to go in the second half.
You had a lot of players miss some time this week because of illness. Talk about not only those guys, but the guys who stepped up and took on added roles because of that.
You know what? We have a great team. You know, we got guys who step up and next man up philosophy, and I'm real proud of our guys, the way they battled through this. And, you know, anytime you're missing a guy from practice, 1 or 2 days, you know, you get out of sync a little bit. But we got it together the second half, and I'm real proud of our squad all together.
Things don't get any easier in this district. You go from this rivalry game to Ponchatoula next week. Talk about that matchup.
Well, always a well-coached football team and always a tough game. We beat them in overtime last year, so expect a tough game against Coach Hank. And, we'll have to prepare well. Hopefully we don't get the sniffles and all that kind of stuff this week and have good practices.
Thank you, Coach. That's Ken Sears. Back up to you, Ken Berthelot.
Thank you very much, Les. And Wade, exactly like you said, showed them some different fronts, did some different things. You called it up here. Your thoughts on this game as you look at the final? We look at the offense again by Covington in the second half. Punt, 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 end of game.
Well, it could be a novel, tale of two halves. That's the bottom line, okay? Here's the deal. St. Paul's makes some great adjustments at halftime with their defensive fronts. They got out of their 3-man front, got into 5-man fronts and 4-man fronts, and completely shut down the Covington offense in the second half. Also, it was the Timothy Bedford show in the third quarter. Bang, bang, bang. He gets the ball in his hands, opens things up for the St. Paul's offense. So it's a great adjustment by the St. Paul's offensive coordinators to be able to do that sort of thing and get Bedford involved in the game. And then the last thing I'm going to say about this is Covington kind of self-destructed with some bad personal fouls and things of that nature in the second half. And I know the great staff, Greg Salter and his staff, will make sure they get that stuff straightened out starting tomorrow morning and get ready for next week's big opponent. I believe it is with Fontainebleau.
Well, it was fun watching St. Paul's go out to a 5-1 record, 3-0 in district. Covington falls to 3-3, 1-2 in district. And you just saw a picture of number 11. It was fun watching Matt Myers play. Wade, Les, thank you guys very much. And what a fun night this was and a fun game to watch. I want to thank everybody for joining us on the first NBC Bank Prep Showcase. It's a double-header week of prep action next week as St. James meets Lutcher and John Curtis faces St. Augustine. Both games will air live on SportsNola.com or catch the tape-delayed broadcast on WHNO next Saturday. Coming up next on WHNO, it's more football as Nichols plays host to Stephen F. Austin. For Wade Kaiser, Les East, Tommy Cooper in the booth with us, and our entire WHNO crew who did a great job with tonight's game, bringing you great pictures. I'm Ken Berthelot. Once again, your final score is St. Paul's defeating Covington 31-14. From Jack Salter Stadium in Covington, Louisiana, thanks for being with us, and have a great evening, everyone.